Today we are making something extra special for the holidays. Coconut shortbread cookies, but with a twist. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing great. These buttery shortbread sandwiched with velvety spiced ganache, and of course we are finishing them with all things festive: pistachio, cherries, and a dash of coconut for that snowy effect, and hazelnut. This will bring joy to your festive tables, or perfect for your gifting as well. So let's dive into it. Here's what you'll need: dark chocolate, milk chocolate, double cream, honey, cinnamon powder, nutmeg, and some white chocolate for dipping. So first, let's start making the spiced ganache for our shortbread today. So for this, in a bowl, combine dark chocolate and the milk chocolate. I'm using couverture, you can use compound chocolate as well, and the ratios will remain the same. Now once you've got the chocolate in a bowl, set them aside. Take another saucepan, get your double cream, honey. You can also use glucose syrup, but I'm using honey because it is easily available for everyone, along with cinnamon powder, nutmeg. We will boil this cream and pour over our chocolate. Pour the boiled cream along with the spices over the chocolate. Just leave it for about 30 seconds because the heat of the cream will start melting the chocolate. As you can see, our ganache has now become nice and smooth, uniform consistency. The gloss that you see is because of the honey that we have added. It will also help the shelf life and also prevent crystallization when you are storing it. You can see once you have achieved a nice smooth ganache, now we rest it for about 30 minutes. Once the ganache is ready, cling film it to touch the surface and let it set at room temperature until you get a piping consistency. So here's what we'll need for our coconut shortbread: some plain flour, icing sugar, desiccated coconut, butter, egg, salt, and baking powder. So let's start making our shortbread. I'm adding the butter to a mixing bowl. This is at room temperature, which means it is not too soft. Icing sugar along with our butter. You can do this in the stand mixer along with a paddle attachment. Today, because I'm working with a small recipe, I'm going to be using a hand mixer. So initially I'm combining the butter and icing sugar with a spatula, just so when I go with my hand blender in, it doesn't splatter everywhere. You don't have to do this if you're using a stand mixer. So we just want to cream our butter and icing sugar until it's nice and slightly fluffy and a little pale. You don't want to over cream it. And now I will add in the egg. This is whole egg. If you want to make it egg free, you can replace the egg with an equal amount of condensed milk. In that case, you can reduce the amount of sugar that you will go in. So once we have combined our eggs into our butter mixture, I will sieve in the flour, salt, and baking powder. Just sieve it over the... This is a very easy, extremely forgiving recipe, which means there's a very little chance that you can go wrong with this recipe, and it comes together in a jiffy. Once we have added in our flour, we will mix it with a spatula. If you're doing it on the stand mixer, you can actually use the paddle attachment even while adding the flour. Because I used a hand mixer today, I'm doing this process with a spatula. Finally, fold in the desiccated coconut. Finish it off with your hand. Once it forms a dough, I'm transferring it to a grease-proof paper and just kind of finish it off with your hand, just to incorporate any bits of flour or butter that might have left. There's very little chance. If you have mixed it properly, you shouldn't have any lumps, but it's always a good practice to do this. Once the dough is ready, cover it with another piece of grease-proof on the top and roll it between two sheets to an even thickness. We are looking about 5 mm thickness for these shortbread cookies. Once you have rolled it nice and even, cut them into donut shapes. I'm using a cookie cutter, so cut them into. It's a very easy recipe, but then I love the flavors of coconut, and then you will see once we decorate, they look so Christmassy. Cut it with a smaller cookie cutter right in the center. That will give you a donut shape. Once we have cut all our cookies, now we need to rest this in the fridge for at least 30 minutes to 1 hour. So our dough has been chilling for a while now in the fridge. Peel off the grease-proof from both the ends. Place it on a perforated mat. Bake the cookies between 2 perforated mats for even baking. I'm baking them at 160 degrees for 10 to 12 minutes. So our shortbread is nicely baked now. You can see they are so evenly baked. Try to avoid over baking them, so keep a close eye. It will take roughly 10 to 12 minutes only. Once the cookies have cooled down completely, it's time to assemble them. So now the ganache is also nice and set, and it is into a pipeable consistency. I've got them into a piping bag with a round nozzle, and then we pipe it on one half of the donut. If you can do it without the nozzle as well, but if you do it with the nozzle, it will be even. And then close it with the other half and slightly twist so that you get a uniform this thing, and then it pushes the ganache towards outside. And once you have sandwiched, nudge it so that the ganache is nicely evenly pushed out to all the edges. For finishing our shortbread cookies, I am using the same ganache but in a smaller piping bag, just because it will be better control. So I'm going to pipe a small ring around the edge. This is just to kind of stick the ornaments that I'm going to use to decorate these shortbread cookies. I'm going to garnish them with pistachio. There is no pistachio in the dish, but I'm just doing it because of the color that it can add to our shortbread cookies. I'm going to add some hazelnut. These are toasted. I'm using glazed cherries. You can also use cranberries because it's so Christmassy, they're red in color. It will give a nice pop of color to the entire cookie, and it will go with your Christmas theme as well. And we're going to sprinkle some coconut flakes for contrast, and then it also denotes the flavor of the shortbread that we have done.